Hey everyone, I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and welcome to another Force of Will deck tech video. Today we are covering Machina. This is an Alice Origin Cluster only Machina deck. Basically, we're going full robots. I think this deck is a lot of fun. Might not be, your tournament level quality, but it's definitely good enough and fun enough for your kitchen table and playing against your friends, especially if y'all are playing Alice Origin Cluster. Before I get started, I do want to give a shout out to Happy Little Hug Factory. Those folks are awesome. They support this channel and I support them 100%. They have pre-orders for the next Force of Will set, the Ghost in the Shell set, which comes out pretty soon. They might be out of the starter decks, but I do know they have booster boxes currently for pre-order. Check it out down below. I have an affiliate link as well as a link to the booster box and the starter deck. Also, they have pre-orders for Alice Origin 3 coming out, also fairly soon, in a month or so. So yeah, check them out. Send them some love because they are awesome and they support Force of Will content creators like yours truly. All right, enough of that. Let's start talking about Machina. So our ruler is Machina. He is a human on the ruler side. He has the Stranger 10 mechanic, like all of the Alice Origin Cluster rulers have. Basically, it means you start the game with a Stranger deck consisting of 10 cards, and you can have no more than 2 of any Stranger card in that Stranger deck. He has a Judgment of double water and a wind, a Energize of a water or a wind, and then he has a wall of text, and it's really tiny here, so bear with me as I try to read through this. It says, whenever a water regalia enters the field under your control, choose one. If the regalia is Maribel type 0, and it's going to be Maribel type 0, choose up to 2 instead. So you can choose a card from your Stranger deck at random and put it into your hand. I think all of the rulers have that type of ability. Or put 2 200 water machine resonator tokens into the field. That is fantastic. You get 2 machine resonator tokens, which is really, really good. Or put 5 100 counters on a Maribel type 0 you control, or you may pay 0 to do Judgment until end of turn. Basically, unless you have Maribel, we're just going to be getting a Stranger, and we're going to be, making some tokens. Or, if you need to do Judgment, we can do Judgment if the time is right. Speaking of which, his J-Ruler side, also called Machina. J-Ruler, he is a 7 Kings machine. Very important that he's a machine. He's a 1200 with Pierce, which is really, really good. And he says, as long as you control a Resonator named Maribel type 0, this card gains plus 1000. Specifically, it says a Resonator named Maribel type 0. We'll go over that in a little bit, but it's your Regalia, but your Regalia can turn into a Resonator. And his Godsar is called Update. For a water and a wind, put 10 100 counters on a Maribel type 0 you control. Then you can choose a card from your Stranger deck at random and put it into your hand. So basically, he's all about the Maribel, and this deck is almost all about the Maribel. Let's start talking about the Stranger deck before we talk about the stones. So here is our Stranger deck. First up, we have the Royal Palace Guardian Mage, Freya. She's a 700 for a water and a wind, Resonator, Wizard, Quick Cast. Enter, you may change all targets of target spell or ability that has 1 or more targets. Really, really sweet. You're going to kill one of my dudes? Nah, you're going to kill one of your dudes. You're going to kill 3 of my dudes? Nah, you're going to kill 3 of your dudes. I think this card is really, really sweet. We are running 2 of them, and they have fantastic art. Next up is the Gear Golem, the Mechanical Soldier. This is a house. Like an actual skyscraper. This is a 4,000 for 5 water pips, Resonator, Stranger, machine. As long as you control 20 or more machines, and we're probably not going to control 20 or more machines, this card gains Pierce and Barrier. But I mean, honestly, it could just be a 4,000 for 5, and you can just keep attacking with it every single turn. They're going to have to block, and they're going to have to, sacrifice one of their dudes because they can't just take 4,000, and we are running 2 of them. Next up is this cute little healing gimmick. It is a 200 for 0. It is a machine, of course it is. It says, banish this card, you gain 1,000 life, draw a card. Then you can pay a water and a wind, remove a machine in your graveyard from the game, put this card from your graveyard into your hand, play this ability only if your J-Ruler is Machina. And yep, we are playing Machina, and we are running 2 of the healing gimmick. This is one of the better Strangers in the deck, I believe. I think it's really, really good. Next up is the Mirage Golem, a 700 for 1 water Resonator machine. Quick Cast. Whenever this card blocks, recover it, and it gains 0 plus 1000 till end of turn. This ability only triggers once per turn. And then this card can also gain flying for a water or barrier for a wind. Just a really good, efficient resonator. Really gums up the board. Really, really hard to get through if your opponent is attacking. And just all around, just very, very solid. We're running 2 of them. And then finally, we are running 2 Rahab, the Emperor Dragon of Riptide. Very simple card. It is a 1000 for triple water. Resonator, Dragon, Flying, Enter. Draw 2 cards. Really, really good. You will note that I do not have the Water Wizard in this deck. If you have extra copies of the Water Wizard, you should probably run it in this deck. My 2 copies are currently living in my Valentina deck, but I would definitely put them in this deck. I'd probably end up taking out... maybe Rahab or Freya. Might take out Freya for the wizards if you have them, but I do really like Freya. You can really get your opponent. Next up is our Magic Stone deck. Very, very simple. We run a full playset of the Deepwood, a full playset of the Ataraxia's Memoria, and then 2 Water Magic Stones because it's a very water-heavy deck. If you couldn't tell by our Stranger base, we definitely want to have water at all times. And with this stone base, we will always have Water Will. So really, really good. All right, let's start talking about the rest of the deck, starting with one of the most important cards in the deck, Maribel Type 0. We've already heard this card referenced a few times. It is a Regalia machine. Good to know that it is a machine for 1 water and a wind. It's mythic, which means you can only have 1 on the field at a time. Your J ruler gains barrier, so it can give Machina barrier, pretty sweet. You can rest it to produce 2 wills of any combination of water or wind. Spend this only to play God's Art, Strangers, or Sword Art. All really relevant stuff. Pretty basic as far as Regalia go these days. And then it has 1 more ability. For 0, this card becomes a 1000 Resonator until end of turn. Play this ability only if there is a soul counter on this card. And we have 1 way to put a soul counter on this card. We'll talk about that with the next card. Of course, we are running a full playset of Maribel. Next up, we have Maribella herself, probably the second most important card in the deck if Maribel is the most important. She is a 600 human machine for a water and a wind. Enter, search your deck for a machine. Just any machine, doesn't have to be a resonator, just a machine, so it can be an addition, it can be the Regalia, any machine. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That by itself is really, really good. You can also pay a water and discard this from your hand to search your deck for a card named Maribel Type 0, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So if you don't really want to, cast this as a resonator, you can just pitch it from your hand for a single water will. And that also says remove this card from your graveyard from the game, put a soul counter on a Maribel Type 0 you control. So that's another reason why you might want to discard it from your hand. So you can pay a water, discard it from your hand, search for that Maribel, put it into play, and then you can, use this in your graveyard to put a soul counter on it. That's how, basically in the story, she dies and Machina puts her soul into the robot. Yeah, it's really sad. It's also pretty cool. Reminds me a lot of a good number of anime, actually. I was going to mention Alita first, but anyway, I digress. I run 3 Maribellas because I only pulled 3 Maribellas in 6 booster boxes. Definitely run 4. If you got 4, run 4. You need 4. I only got 3. Next up, we got our giant suite of Resonators. Spoilers, they are all machines. Starting off with Twin Robots. They're 200 for a single water will. It's a machine. Enter, put another 200 water machine resonator token onto the field. So basically it's a 2-for-1 robots, and we definitely want a lot of robots on the field, running a full playset of these dudes, because of course we need all the robots. Next up is the Underwater Robot, 700 for double water resonator machine. Rest 2 recovered machines you control to rest target J/resonator. Really sweet that it can rest J/resonator, so you can hit your opponent's J ruler. Really, really cool. As long as you control 5 or more machines, this card gains barrier. We are running 2 of them because it's kind of niche, and you really only need 1 on the field at a time. We have a bunch of ways to search for machines, and by a bunch of ways, I mean Maribella. But in any case, we're running 2 of these. Next up is Maribella's Recycling Robot. 800 for a double water and a wind. It is a machine. Enter, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Put a 200 water machine token onto the field. for each machine discarded this way. So you can actually get 2 more additional machines with this card, which is fantastic. Once again, we really want to swarm the board with machine tokens. If this card was awakened, draw an additional 2 cards. And to awaken it, you remove 2 machines in your graveyard from the game. So yeah, when you play this, if you do the awakening, removing 2 machines in your graveyard, you will draw basically 4 cards and discard 2. And if they're machines, you get Resonators for them. Really, really sweet. We are running a full playset of this weird, bug-eyed little guy. Next up is the Linked Battle Robot. 800 Resonator machine for double water and 1 of any. As long as you control 3 or more machines, all machine J Resonators you control gain plus 200, which is really good. It actually includes, this one doesn't say other machine Resonators you control, all of them, or J Resonators. As long as you control 5 or more machines, this card gains flying. And as long as you control 7 or more machines, other machine J Resonators you control gain the keyword abilities on this card. So they would all gain flying. And then if you give it another ability, they would all gain that ability too. Really, really sweet. It's kind of slow, and if it's the only one you have, doesn't really do a whole lot. We are running 2 of them for that reason, but it's a pretty good finisher, and it kind of just pumps your whole team. But other than that, not, you know, not one of the linchpins of the deck, just kind of a top end. Next up, we have Remote Control Beast. Very simple card. 800 for 4 of any. It's a machine beast. You may pay 1 less to play this card for each other machine you control. And that's just straight up each other machine you control, not each other machine resonator. So this counts, once again, counts your Regalia. If you have your J Ruler activated, counts your J Ruler, counts any additions you play that are machines. We do have those in the deck. Really, really solid, especially with all of the machine swarms that we have. Basically like a free 800. Of course, we're running a full playset of this card. And then finally, we run the Big Daddy himself, Remote Control Golem. 2000 for 10. It is a Resonator machine. You may pay 1 less to play this card for each machine you control. And it says this card cannot be destroyed. Huge beater. We are running 2 of him just because we don't want too many of this stuck on our hand. It might be good to run more. I'm not 100% sure yet. So far in my playing, didn't really need to get more because I could just search for this with Maribella, but you know, I think it's great. And if you want to run more, yeah, you can run more. Next up, we have a couple non-Resonator machines, starting off with the Buster Rifle. This is an addition machine for a single water. Cards named Maribel Type 0 you control gain Pierce. You can rest it to give a J Resonator you control plus 400/0 until end of turn. So you can do that to any J Resonator you control, which is pretty good. You can also rest it and banish Machine Resonator to have this card deal damage equal to the banished Resonator's attack to target J/Resonator. But you can only do that if you control Maribel Type 0. Once again, it's very important to have our Maribel Type 0. I'm running 2 of these because I'm also running the Ultimate Shield. This is basically the same as the Buster Rifle, but for defense. So it's a addition machine for a single water will. Cards named Maribel Type 0 you control gain Barrier. You know, the other card gave Maribel Pierce. And it says, rest it, target J/Resonator you control gains 0 plus 400, where the other one, you know, gave attack. This one gives defense. And it says, rest, prevent all damage that would be dealt to target Machine Resonator until end of turn. Play this ability only if you control Maribel Type 0. Yeah, we're running 2 of these. So we have 2 of each. It might be better to run more of one of these, possibly the Buster Rifle, but I think this is a good balance so far. And the rest of the deck is, you know, just some chance. Starting off with Suppression Order. This is the best removal that we have. For a single water will, it is a Chant Sword Art with Quick Cast. As an additional cost to play this card, reveal a Machine Resonator from your hand. We definitely want to reveal our big 2000 Remote Control Golem. This card deals damage equal to revealed Resonator's attack to target J/Resonator. Really good, that can hit J Rulers. If this card was awakened, choose a card from your Stranger deck at random, put into your hand, Awakening of a single wind. Really, really good. Really efficient. It is a 1-drop removal, especially if you have a very large boy in your hand, like on the art here. It kind of like doesn't belabor the point. It's just like, yo, you need the Remote Control Golem. Anyway, running a full playset of these. Next up, we have the Determination of the Machine Lord. This is a Chant Sword Art with Quick Cast for 1 wind and 1 water. It says, choose 1. Machine J Resonators you control gain Swiftness and plus 200 until end of turn. Really good. Pump your whole team, especially if you have a bunch of little dudes. Or return 2 target machines you control to their owner's hand. Pretty good at saving your guys, or if you want to, play them again for other effects. It just says machines. It doesn't say machine resonator, so you can bounce your regalia back to your hand, play it again, and get some more Machina triggers. That's pretty good. Or search your deck for 2 machines with total cost 1 or less, put one into the field and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle your deck. That ability, not quite as good for our build because there aren't a ton of machines that we want to search for. We can search for the additions because it doesn't say machine resonators, which is good to note. So if you need that Buster Rifle, you can search for the Buster Rifle. If you need the shield, or if you just need the little tiny robot, you can get all of those. Yeah, I think this card's good. It's very versatile. You can, replay your regalia to get effects. You can pump your team. You can search for, a couple different things that you may need. They immediately go into the field. We're running a full playset of this card as well. And last but not least, we have Maribella's Work. Very, very simple card. It is a chant with quick cast for 5 of any, but it says you may pay 1 less to play this card for each machine you control. Draw 2 cards. I am running 3 of these. It might be right to run 4 of these, but in my current build, I'm running 3 of these. Maybe cut one of the determinations for an additional Maribella's Work. That might be the right thing to do, but currently, this is my build. You can kind of tweak it as you see fit, but I found I didn't need to draw that many cards with all of the shenanigans I got going on. Anyway, that was my Alice Origin Cluster Machina deck. I hope y'all liked it. Maybe leave a like, a comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell to get notified for all of my videos. I appreciate it so, so much. I definitely have more Force Will content coming in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.